The council met and unanimously approved the nomination of AIG Tunji Disu to fill the vacant position of Inspector General Police.
The making of 23rd Police Chief Council confirms Tunji Disu as IGP.
It was a reported case of a Nigerian that was injured, but I think he walked into a medical facility and he was treated, and I think currently is stable.
Dark cloud in the Middle East, counting the loss. Safety of Nigerians, federal government's worry.
In every competition, somebody must win, somebody must lose.
Early preparations for peaceful election. Peace Committee, INEC chief meet. Hello and welcome to the Network News on NTA. I'm Najaa Tutujani. Joining me from Lagos is Adeola Komiakiri. Later in the bulletin, Musa Abubakar will bring us the latest updates from the capital market. And standing by for sports is Ayo Makinde, who will deliver major highlights from the sporting world. Ayo, let's start with you. What's making the headlines?
All is set for Super Falcons' second leg friendly encounter with the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon.
Thank you, Ayo. How about Musa?
Equities market begins the week in green despite geopolitical tensions.
All right, then we look forward to the details, and we do have a comprehensive bulletin lined up for you featuring in-depth analysis and updates from across the country and around the world. Remember that this broadcast is being streamed live on our website, nta.ng/live, and you can follow us on our social media. Our handles are displayed on the screen. And now the news in detail. The newly appointed Acting Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, is to be sworn in next week as the substantive IGP, following the ratification of his appointment by the Nigeria Police Council. State House correspondent Musbau Danwahab reports.
The council sat basically because of the Acting Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, who was appointed just last week and decorated Wednesday last week following the resignation of immediate past Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun. And today the council just met to consider the record of this man who has been appointed by the president, and they consider the record, the past, what he's been able to do in the police force, and they have ratified from their level. We spoke to the chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum, that's Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak earlier. Let's just take a listen to him.
He has his work cut out for him, especially in this age of talks about state police. Now, the challenges are there. He's been through it. He did a major assignment with the Rapid Response in Lagos State and FCT, so he has a record to show that he can perform. There's great expectation from the states, 36 states and FCT, which he has to organize. Wish him all the best, and we look forward to working with him.
I've had a unique opportunity to have worked with him. He had served under me within the Lagos State Police Command for about 4 or 5 years, but specifically about 2.5 years during my tenure as the commander of Rapid Response Squad. And during that time, not only did he succeed as a police officer, he was also able to manage close to 3,000 special squad of police officers and men, to help reduce and manage extensively any form of issues in Lagos.
Now we have the senior advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Nanuga, with us to tell us about the outcome of that meeting of the Nigeria Police Council. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Well, the council met and unanimously approved the nomination of AIG Tunji Disu to fill the vacant position of Inspector General of Police. The update that I have is that on Wednesday, the president was formally sworn in as Inspector General of Police.
It's interesting that you said the president will be swearing in on Wednesday, coming Wednesday next week. And then what has been in the public is that his name will be forwarded to the Senate for confirmation. What about that?
No, on the advert of the Senate, it is no longer necessary. The Police Act actually does not provide for the screening of an IG of police at the Senate. So we are going with that. That's why he has to be sworn in on Wednesday.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. Mr. Bayo Nanuga, essay to the President on Information and Strategy. So that is it. It is no longer necessary for the name of Tunji Disu to go to the Senate National Assembly for confirmation. So by Wednesday next week, we expect that it will be formally sworn in as the substantive Inspector General of Police for Nigeria. And it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Musbao. Thank you. The Department of State Services has arrested one suspect in connection to an assassination attempt on Peter Obi, Chief John Oyegun, and several chieftains and members of the Old Democratic Congress, ADC, on February 24 in Benin, Edo State. The DSS says the arrest follows credible intelligence and statements made by one Udeme Monday Stephen, a 26-year-old teacher in River State, who posted on his X account claiming responsibility for the attack and threatening further attacks on Obi. The suspect is to be charged to court. And as tensions continue to rise in the Middle East, Nigeria is taking action to protect its citizens caught in the crossfire. Garba Nata'ala reports.
I'm in touch with all our missions in the affected countries, but we don't have a mission in Bahrain, a physical embassy in Bahrain, but our embassy in Kuwait City in Kuwait covers Bahrain. So there was a reported case of a Nigerian that was injured, but I think he walked into a medical facility and he was treated, and I think currently is stable and not in a life-threatening situation.
In view of the prevailing circumstances, the Nigerian government has issued a broader diplomatic statement appealing for restraint and calling on all parties to return to the negotiation table for the interest of global peace.
We called on the escalation of the crisis based on the UN Charter, Geneva Convention, that all speaks about the peaceful resolution of disputes between countries.
Meanwhile, to ensure the safety of citizens in the region, the Nigerian government has activated its emergency protocols. Dedicated phone lines have been provided for nationals in the Gulf states, in Kuwait, Bahrain and the UAE to ensure active communication and consular support. Similar measures are inactive for Nigerians in Israel following the recent missile and drone strikes launched towards Israeli territory. The federal government is urging its nationals to exercise extreme vigilance, specifically telling them to avoid military installations, government buildings, and any areas that could become flashpoints in the conflict. Authorities are also advising citizens to limit movement and avoid attending large public gatherings until further directives. The key message from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is for Nigerian nationals in those Gulf states, including Israel, to remain calm and remain connected to their various embassies in order to get more adequate information of the situation at hand. In Abuja, Garba Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
Thank you, Garba. Meanwhile, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, is taking proactive steps to calm turbulent oil markets after coordinated United States-Israeli strikes on Iran rattled supplies across the Middle East. Brent crude has already spiked by about 9% on renewed fears over production and supply disruptions around the Strait of Hormuz, a strategic route which handles roughly 20% of global seaborne oil trade. Lydia Sampson reports.
In an unusually swift response, 8 OPEC Plus member countries have announced plans to boost crude oil output, shifting from price defense to supply stabilization in a bid to prevent prolonged price shock. The decision, led by Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait and Russia, aims to stabilize global oil supply and calm volatile markets amid fears of supply disruption from the Gulf region. For Nigeria, the challenge will be turning any short-term price gain into a cushion against deeper global volatility. Industry observers say the move could ease price surges triggered by attack, but may strain OPEC Plus unity over production quotas. Energy analysts warn that sustained instability could still undermine output gains and complicate diplomatic efforts to steady oil prices worldwide. With concerns rising over continued attacks and counterattacks, fears about hostilities escalation to a full-scale war threatening global energy routes and international security have led to renewed international calls to end hostilities. Iran contributes about 10% of OPEC's total crude oil production, ranking amongst the organization's leading members. The Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates and Qatar collectively account for nearly 45% together. These nations shape global oil prices and wield significant influence over OPEC's output decisions. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
And their travelers at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport are adjusting to the cashless toll payment system introduced by the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN. Jonathan Omajali reports that the gridlock which followed the introduction of the new policy persists, but the authority says it is speeding up payments at the toll gate to ease the flow of traffic.
Patience and more patience. That's what you need to make it through the access gate. On Sunday, the new policy which requires motorists to use prepaid access cards or electronic payment channels came into full swing. Motorists who arrived at the airports unaware of the full enforcement of the policy are directed to designated registration points to obtain prepaid cards.
I didn't expect this procedure or the process that is ongoing, but I think the way the world is going currently, we are going digital and cashless. I believe if they create more, they are able to make the system easy for people to come in. I think it's a good development.
It's good, it's a good thing, but you can see some people will miss their flight.
There are groans here and there, but airport officials say the teething challenges will soon be over.
Before we used to have 4 lanes, now we're having 6 good lanes, and we also deploy buses just across the entrance gate. For those who are in a hurry, we convey them to terminal avenue free of charge, just to ease the burden on passengers. It is a gradual thing, and you know, like I said, Abuja is a big city. It has a lot of population. We will continue to contain and manage this situation until all Nigerians that are using Nigerian airports got this card and off we go.
Earlier, FAN announced that the cashless regime was part of efforts to block revenue leakages and align with the federal government's directive on electronic revenue collection across ministries, departments and agencies. Jonathan Omajali, NTA News.
Dry season farming activities in Kebbi State have commenced, and the federal government wants other states and local governments to sustain support for smallholder farmers to achieve food sufficiency and rural poverty eradication. Musa Baba Aliu reports.
Pyramids have once again resurfaced in Kebbi State. They are made of thousands of bags of assorted grains, including rice and millet, used in building these giant pyramids. There is also one built with thousands of bags of fertilizer. Down here, there are hundreds of mini heavy-duty farming implements that will be made available to support farmers alongside the fertilizers. All of these are to be distributed to farmers for dry season farming, while the food items will serve as a Ramadan package for vulnerable groups.
We recognize the challenge faced by our farmers, and we are dedicated to providing them with the necessary tools and the support in order to succeed.
The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, commended the initiative of the Kebbi State Governor, Dr. Nasiru Idris, for rolling out support to smallholder farmers. He said President Bola Tinubu is proud of the initiative and urged states and local governments to always carry farmers along in their policies and programs.
Youth and women must be fully integrated as central actors with equitable access to inputs, financing and land to sustain productivity and strengthen agricultural potentials.
This is the third time Kebbi State is rolling out major support to farmers, which has boosted farmers' output. From Benin Kebbi, Kebbi State, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
2026, gateway to 2027 elections. INEC meets stakeholders on confidence building. Details and more after the break. Stay tuned. You're watching the network news on NTA. The World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Dr. Matthew Varghese, has inaugurated landmark education and infrastructure projects in Maiduguri, reaffirming the bank's commitment to sustained collaboration in Borno State's recovery and development efforts. The inauguration forms part of the World Bank delegation's official visit to the state. Mohamed Goni reports.
The visit featured the commissioning of major educational facilities, including the permanent site of Maimusari Junior Secondary School, Mairi, alongside Maimusari Primary School, 2 mega schools with 30 classrooms each, built by the Borno State government to accommodate over 3,000 students. The schools are fully landscaped and equipped with modern learning facilities, including smart boards, digital tablets, ICT centers, science laboratories, and well-stocked libraries. Also inaugurated was Command Secondary School, Maiduguri, one of 55 schools constructed under the World Bank supported Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Agile program. The school comprises 7 blocks of 24 classrooms, science laboratories, ICT facilities, recreational amenities, and hostel accommodation for 1,000 students. The projects align with Governor Babagana Umar Azulum's vision of rebuilding Borno through quality education, human capital development, and expanded access to orphans and other vulnerable children affected by insurgency. Since 2019, the administration has constructed 104 schools as part of efforts to restore access to education, rebuild damaged infrastructure, and improve learning outcomes across the state.
Education is not new to Borno. It is part of its heritage. What we inaugurate today is not just a building, but a continuation of that noble tradition.
We value our ongoing engagements with the World Bank team and remain confident that our shared vision will continue to translate into impactful and transformative intervention.
The progress recorded in the education sector is a direct result of your visionary leadership and sustained investment in human capital development.
Beyond education, the World Bank Country Director also inaugurated key urban infrastructure projects, including the West End Flyover, the 4th flyover built by the current administration, as well as dualized and expanded township roads such as Shehu Sanda, Kura Roads, Sultan Road, Shehu Umar Road, Pusari, and Songhai Roads under the Urban Renewal Program. Both the World Bank and the Borno State government reaffirmed their commitment to sustaining the partnership, expressing confidence that continued collaboration will deliver measurable and lasting impact in the state's recovery journey. Governor Babagana Umar Azulum administration is taking the education sector to a greater height with world-class schools such as this and more to come. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Thank you. Similarly, the Executive Director and National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Mui Aino, says the inauguration of the revitalized Zamari Primary Healthcare Center in Borno State marks another milestone in strengthening basic healthcare delivery under the Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative, as 123 primary healthcare centers have been revitalized across the state, with most already completed and others at advanced stages.
I am aware that His Excellency, Governor Babagana Umar Zulum, has really revitalized about 123 PHCs, is what I am told, and almost all of them have been completed. Those that have not been completed just have, they are in the final stages of it. And this is, in fact, state of the art in terms of what we define as a fully functional level 2 PHC.
The Zamari facility has key features, including 30 inpatient beds, 4 units of staff quarters, solar-powered electricity and borehole, and modern infrastructure to support quality service delivery. And still on health, but animal health, the National Veterinary Research Institute, VOM, says it is set to scale vaccine production up to 1.2 billion doses annually for livestock and poultry to support Nigeria's food security drive. Acting Director NVRI Dr. Nick Nwakpa disclosed this while speaking on a 3-day retreat on veterinary research and development scheduled for March 3 to 5, 2026. Yusuf Jika reports.
From aging machines to modern innovation, NVRI is stepping into a new era of possibility. Acting Director and Chief Executive Officer Nick Nwakpa says the Institute is renewing its drive for innovative research and production, replacing obsolete equipment with modern technology to support sustainable livestock development.
We needed to give Nigerians confidence that that NVRI is well positioned to deliver on its mandate. NVRI, coming out of this retreat, will be more focused, more scientifically endowed, innovative, and ready to meet its mandate as required by the Constitution.
Dr. Nwakpa says the next step in this transformation will bring veterinary experts and consultants to Abuja for in-depth discussions aimed at sharpening strategies and strengthening the Institute's mandate.
To evaluate the gaps in the country, for example, there are gaps in vaccine coverage and services. We also have gaps in research. To look at these gaps and also to do a SWOT analysis. Then also we need also to look at the livestock development strategy and possibly align our activities with those strategies.
As NVRI continues its transition from obsolete system to modern equipment, the upcoming retreat is expected to open new pathways for veterinary research in Nigeria and advance the Institute's mandate. In Abuja, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
Talking election matters now. The National Peace Committee has met with critical election stakeholders towards charting a way forward ahead of upcoming elections. Timothy Yusuf reports that the meeting attended by the INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amupiton, has become imperative in the face of the new Electoral Act.
As Nigeria prepares for the upcoming off-cycle governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun states and the 2027 general elections, the National Peace Committee considers it imperative to initiate early, structured and strategic engagement with key electoral stakeholders. The committee believes that recent electoral cycles have underscored the importance of proactive coordination, trust building and preventive interventions in mitigating tensions and safeguarding peaceful, credible and inclusive electoral process.
In every competition, somebody must win and somebody must lose. And that through the signing of the peace accord, we submit ourselves and assign to ourselves a duty and a responsibility to imbibe the discipline that goes with building a political culture.
We should begin to address some basic problems that confront our electoral system, one of which is lack of trust. I go everywhere, people say we don't trust you. I say thank you. We have to strive and work extra hard.
The last election, 2023 general election, was a very wonderful election. I've always said this. Yes, there was an issue at the presidential election, but it was one election that sitting governors couldn't win senatorial election. That means votes counted.
It's very, very important that we restore the confidence of Nigerians to electoral democracy as the only way in which governance can be constituted in this country.
The meeting identified successes recorded since 2023, emerging electoral risk, priority areas for National Peace Committee strategic interventions, and opportunities for strengthening collaboration. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the national chairman of the APC, Nentawe Yiwada, has attributed the party's expanding membership and electoral competitiveness to its robust internal structures, technology-driven membership system, and transparent approach to party administration. At an event in Abuja, Professor Yiwada said the APC's adoption of electronic registration has strengthened party organization and mobilization. He notes that the system also enhances the credibility of party primaries by ensuring only duly registered members participate. The APC chairman stresses that the APC remains unique in its flexibility, having successfully conducted primaries through consensus, direct primaries and indirect primaries, depending on what best serves party unity and internal democracy. Jigawa state government has launched a large-scale food distribution program targeting civil servants and vulnerable groups across the state. The initiative underscores Governor Umar Namadi's commitment to welfare-driven governance. Mohammed Musa Askira reports.
The Ramadan support program officially flagged off at the banquet hall of the government house in Dutse. A total of 640 feeding centers have been established statewide, with 420 persons expected to receive free meals at each center daily. This brings the total number of daily beneficiaries to 268,800. By the end of the Ramadan period, the government projects that over 8 million residents will have benefited from the intervention. In addition to the feeding centers, 562 schools across the state have received special support. The intervention includes the distribution of 3,000 bags of rice and 6,000 cartons of spaghetti to the informal Islamic learning centers. Governor Umar Namadi described the initiative as a continuation of his administration's welfare-driven policies aimed at improving the living conditions of citizens, particularly during the sacred month of Ramadan. The program has also created economic opportunities, engaging 6,000 vendors responsible for preparing and serving meals daily across the state.
Ramadan is a month of compassion, and it is in this spirit that we are undertaking this suite of citizens' welfare initiatives as a testament to our administration and unwavering commitment to the well-being and the support of our civil servants.
Last year, 350 people benefited at each center. But this year, the number has been increased to 420%. The citizens of Jigawa are grateful.
At the flag-off ceremony, 602 beneficiaries drawn from various ministries, departments and agencies received over 12 million naira in addition to the food palliative. In Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu extends warm greetings to renowned community leader, entrepreneur and philanthropist Alhaja Latifat Olufunke Gbajabiamila, mother of his Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila, on her 96th birthday. As a United Kingdom trained nurse, Mama Gbajabiamila was a role model in healthcare, using her experience and resources to inspire and mentor many in the noble profession. President Tinubu extols her resilience, industry and remarkable life dedicated to the service of God and humanity. The president salutes her historic record as the first female elected local government chairperson in the state and prays that Almighty God will continue to keep Mama Gbajabiamila in good health and strength so that she may continue her good work. Happy birthday, Mama. It's now time to join Adiola in Lagos for more on the Network News. Adiola.
Thank you, Najatu. The Lagos State government says its flagship International Investment Forum, Invest Lagos 2026, will significantly boost the state's global investment visibility and positioning. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu made this known ahead of the third edition of the Invest Lagos Summit 0.0. Joy Kena Bako reports.
More than 500 high-level global investors, development finance institutions, and multinational corporations are expected to converge on Lagos for the 2026 Invest Lagos Summit 3.0. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who addressed the media alongside the Chief Executive Officer of the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, Samantha Cohen, said the summit is transaction-focused and structured to convert investment conversations into measurable capital deployment across key sectors, including transport, energy, housing, healthcare, and digital infrastructure.
I want to therefore invite investors, financial institutions, development partners, both local and international, strategic collaborations to engage fully to seize the opportunity that Invest Lagos 3.0 will present.
Investment must convert into enterprise growth, value chain expansion, job creation, and enhanced revenue performance. This is the economic discipline guiding Invest Lagos 3.0.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, Samantha Cohen, described Lagos as Africa's most important city for business and reaffirmed the Council's commitment to mobilizing investors from across the Commonwealth.
We are proud to partner with the government to deliver the Lagos Trade Investment Summit this June, convening more than 300 Commonwealth and Nigerian business leaders for dialogue and investment opportunities.
Invest Lagos 3.0 is expected to deliver signed agreements, firm investment commitments, and a post-summit tracking framework to ensure effective implementation and measurable economic impact for Lagos State. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakoya, NTA News.
Residents of Makoko community are benefiting from a 3-month free medical outreach that caters to the health needs of the people after the demolition in the area was stopped. The healthcare voluntary intervention is an emergency response to alleviate the plight of the people in the community. Makoko reports.
After the demolition of some parts of Makoko was brought to a halt by the Lagos State House of Assembly, some displaced persons are yet to find their feet as they continue to grapple with the inconveniences this has caused them, with some temporarily squatting in places of worship.
Our fathers that used to go for fishing, they don't go again because they burn their boats. This is our environment. We want government to help us.
The health hazards associated with the unique location of Makoko, often called the floating slum, is what has prompted a medical intervention by this faith-based organization to meet the health concerns of the people.
They don't have healthcare delivery system at all. They depend solely on herbs. So that's where we come up with this idea to provide healthcare delivery that will be accessible to all.
And infection is the major challenge we may likely to have here. So that's why we are all here, to make sure they are all in good health and achieve a standard healthcare.
The health intervention, organizers say, is expected to last for the next 3 months. Makoko community has been on the global map and is receiving enormous media attention due to its peculiar characteristics that resonates with global environmental concerns.
Normalcy has been restored to this part of the community. The people are going about their daily living. They, however, beckon on the government to kindly assist them in providing basic amenities, as this will help improve the standard of living in this part of the community. From water side of the Makoko area in Lagos, Makoko, NTA News.
And that's it from Lagos. The network news continues in Abuja after the break.
Nigeria takes historic stride towards trillion-dollar economy as NICOM and Bureau of Public Procurement join forces to standardize insurance for government contracts, turning public procurement into a model of transparency and trust. Details with Musa Abubakar.
Bustling construction sites to the corridors of government offices, every contract now carries the safety net of insurance-backed bonds, bid bonds, Performance bonds and advance payment bonds will no longer be mere paperwork. They will be guaranteed, verifiable, and trustworthy. With insurance and procurement now hand in hand, Nigeria is not just securing contracts, it's building trust, driving innovation, and laying the foundation for a $1 trillion dream.
It's almost impractical for us to start the transformation process A to Z without the necessary collaboration. So we therefore identify BPP as one of the critical agencies that is necessary or critical or vital to our success in our transformation journey.
We want to let you know today, by signing of this MOU, I call on all contractors to begin to take advantage of the insurance bond.
By identifying BPP as a key partner, NICOM is modernizing the way government contracts are insured, creating a framework that protects public funds, boosts contractor compliance, and injects confidence into the nation's economy. In Abuja, Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
And the man Musa is live in his business corner with more on the beat. Musa?
Nigeria's stock market closed on a positive note, demonstrating resilience despite heightened geopolitical tensions and cautious investor sentiment across global markets. At the close of trading, the all-share index gained around ground to settle at 195,514.23 basis points, reflecting sustained buying interest in key sectors of the market. As a result of the day's gain, the market capitalization of listed equities rose to 125.49 trillion naira, reinforcing market's positive momentum. Nigerian Exchange Group led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 136 naira 40 kobo per share, followed by Aradel Holdings, Uni Homes Real Estate, and Sovereign Trust Insurance. That concludes business news. Najaz, back to you.
Thank you, Musa. Now, the Independent Media and Policy Initiative, IMPI, says President Tinubu has transformed Nigeria's economy with the right policies. In a policy statement by its chairman, Omoni Akinshiju, IMPI argues that it is the best way of weaning the country off decades of wasting resources. The policy group adds that one of the key impacts of economic policies is the increase in allocations to all tiers of government. Sports and more right after the break. Stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us and welcome to Sports. Francis Obi has vowed to build on the achievements of his previous 2 terms to elevate Nigeria badminton to new heights. He made this commitment after his re-election for a 3rd term as president of Badminton Federation of Nigeria at the VIP section of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Following the inauguration, the chairman of the National Sports Commission assured the new board of the commission's commitment to win more international medals for Nigeria.
What it means to me is that so much is expected. I mean, if a new board can come together and say, we are giving you our votes, that means they believe in us to be able to deliver.
If somebody is leading the right way, the best thing the stakeholders could do, if they really love the sport, is rally behind him and make sure you put him to do more. Especially we have him on the international body, on the African body, and everywhere. So why would anybody want to derail that process? And the fact that we are seeing the results on the table as well. So it's just to do more.
The opening day of Athletics Federation of Nigeria Golden League Series lit up the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium on the track, with Chidera Ezeako storming to victory in the men's 100 meters with a time of 10.32 seconds, wind aided. Tejiri Godwin secured 2nd place in a personal best of 10.37 seconds, while Gift Bright also set a new personal best of 10.49 seconds for a 3rd place finish. In the women's 100 meters final, Chinonso Courage Odika won in 11.69 seconds, narrowly beating Miriam Jegede in 11.74 seconds, just as Ejiro Peter finished 3rd in 11.76 seconds. In the men's senior discus throw, Yehoho Benaya Ofoku dominated with a winning and personal best throw of 45.95 meters. The 19-year-old continues to establish himself as a promising talent. Chineme Akachukwunweke placed second with a personal best of 38.10 meters, and Emmanuel Shakamo Modu Aldu took third with a season's best of 36.27 meters. Let's cross over to the world of football, where reigning African champion Super Falcons are determined to recover after a late loss to Cameroon's indomitable Lionesses in the first of two pre-WAFCON friendlies in Yaoundé last Saturday. The two teams meet again on Tuesday at the Yaoundé Military Stadium to conclude the friendly series arranged by both federations as preparation for the upcoming Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Nigeria will compete in WAFCON Group C against Zambia, Egypt and debutants Malawi. Their campaign begins on March 18 in Casablanca, with all semi-finalists earning automatic qualification for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil. In the meantime, match day 28 of the Nigeria Premier Football League saw Barrow FC claiming a dramatic 2-1 home victory over Plateau United at the Sani Abacha Stadium in Kano. The win lifts Barrow FC to 10th place on the table with 37 points from 28 matches, highlighting a competitive debut season. Despite the loss, Plateau United remain close behind in 12th place with 36 points. And just a quick one, the match ongoing in the Spanish league between Real Madrid and Getafe is in halftime right now, with Getafe leading Real Madrid by 1-0. And that's your sports. It's back to Najatu.
Thank you, Ayo. And we're talking the loss of the veteran broadcaster Rabiu Bako, who the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, describes as a great loss to the media industry and the nation. Haruna Mohammed reports that the minister made the remark while on a condolence visit to the Bako family.
It was a solemn atmosphere at residence of the late veteran broadcaster Rabiu Bako, as family members, friends and colleagues and well-wishers received the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, who led a delegation on a condolence visit. The minister described the late Rabiu Bako as a dedicated professional whose voice and contribution to broadcasting help in shaping public discourse and strengthen the nation's democracy. He noted that the deceased stood for truth, fairness, and national unity throughout his years of service as they pray for the repose of his soul.
We will remember him for his mentorship. We will remember him for his dedication, for his diligence, for all the services that he has rendered. And we pray to Allah to give him Al-Jannah Firdaus.
Dad is a very honorable person who has taught all his children how to be modest in all they do, how to be religious, and how to, imbibe the spirit of, togetherness, leadership, and integrity among all the family members.
Three-time commissioner and politician, the veteran broadcaster Rabiu Bako has since been laid to rest. He died at the age of 89, leaving behind 2 wives and 15 children. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
On that note, we conclude the network news on NTA. Ramadan Kareem.